A Patriot's Love, Her Heart, His Cause. This is all 6 chapters of a 6-chapter short story that explores what happens when two people, tied to opposing political poles, fall irresistibly in love. Can their hearts cross party lines? Chapter 1. Her World, Guns, Fox News, and Southern Pride. Sarah Jorgensen stood overlooking her pride and joy, the sprawling gun range which bore her family name, Jorgensen's. Each bullet fired echoed the staunch conservatism that had coursed through her family's veins for generations. Born and bred in the fertile lands of Mississippi, her worldview was shaped by the twang of country music, a love of NASCAR, and the sacred broadcasts of Fox News. Sarah was a unique blend of Southern charm and political fire. Her auburn hair was as fiery as her debate rhetoric, her verdant eyes as deep as her faith. Today, as the sun dipped into the crimson Mississippi horizon, she stood tall in her cowboy boots and denim ensemble, embodying a strength carved by her environment and beliefs. Her life was meticulously choreographed around her love for her nation, a nation she believed was under constant threat from those across the political divide. She respected the Second Amendment with religious fervor and believed fiercely in the rights of the unborn. The news that came from her faithfully trusted television set was her gospel, her guide in navigating the complexities of American politics. On this particular evening, Sarah was drawn into the comforting hum of Fox News that emanated from the nearby family home. The lively discussions of Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity were the soundtrack to her existence, their conservative dialogue resonating deeply with her. The major news of the day was the upcoming 2004 Republican National Convention to be held in New York City, a gathering she eagerly anticipated. To Sarah, the convention wasn't just a political event. It was a pilgrimage, a reaffirmation of her steadfast values. She recalled the last convention she attended. It was just after the turn of the millennium, and the world was still reeling from the aftermath of 9/11. The convention had served as a salve, a banding together of like-minded individuals united by love for their country and their shared fears about its future. As she watched President Bush addressing the nation on the news, she felt her patriotic fervor stirring. His rhetoric echoed her beliefs, and it further cemented her resolve to take part in the coming convention. Sarah looked forward to the convention with a sense of thrill and apprehension. New York City was a far cry from her tranquil Mississippi existence. She anticipated a clash of cultures but was excited about the prospect of meeting fellow Republicans, people who shared her political convictions. As Garth Brooks's American Honky Tonk Bar Association began playing on the radio, Sarah couldn't help but feel a wave of nostalgia. She remembered how she and her late father used to dance to Brooks's hits in their living room, an old man teaching his young daughter the rhythm of their roots. With a deep sigh, she looked out over her property, the gun range silent in the impending twilight. She felt a mix of longing and anticipation, a longing for the familiarity of her world, and an anticipation for the thrilling unknown that lay ahead in New York City. Despite the silence, Sarah could hear the steady rhythm of her homeland, the country music, the discussions on Fox News, the solidarity of the Republican Party, and the heart-pounding exhilaration of the gun range. These sounds wove a melody that was uniquely hers, a symphony that would soon clash with a rhythm vastly different from her own. The story of Sarah Jorgensen was just beginning, a dance where every step was infused with Southern charm and political passion. Little did she know, her world was about to collide with an entirely different beat, changing the melody of her life forever. This is chapter 1 of a 6-part short love story. The next chapter is chapter 2. Chapter 2. The Brooklyn Blue, Portrait of a Democrat. In a bustling Brooklyn loft, nestled among graffiti-adorned buildings and the incessant hum of city life, resided John Kellerman, a civil rights lawyer and devoted Democrat. Unlike Sarah's tranquil Mississippi existence, John's world was filled with the constant ebb and flow of New York City and his beliefs, molded by its diverse and liberal spirit. John's Brooklyn loft was filled with symbols of his life and passions, his vinyl collection ranging from the sweet melody of the Beatles to the raw rebellion of Bob Dylan, shelves brimming with books on civil liberties, and photos of his involvement in countless protests and marches. His life was a testament to his dedication to his cause, to his fervent belief in equality and justice. On this particular day, the city was pulsating with life, and so was John's heart. The upcoming Democratic National Convention was the talk of the town, and he had been selected as a guest speaker. The chance to voice his views on such a platform was a dream he'd always cherished. As he looked out over the city, he thought about his journey, his transformation from a small-town boy from Syracuse to a prominent voice in the Democratic Party. His story was the quintessential American dream, the story of a man who dared to dream big, dared to challenge the status quo, and dared to devote his life to the pursuit of justice. John's life was far removed from Sarah's, where she found comfort in the traditional. He sought to challenge convention. Where she pledged allegiance to Fox News, he devoured the New York Times and found solace in the progressive voices of NPR. His environment was a far cry from Sarah's. The constant cacophony of New York City was his lullaby, the vibrant graffiti his canvas, and the melting pot of cultures his comfort zone. He was a man molded by the city, by its liberal values, its challenges, and its ceaseless pace. Yet despite their differences, they shared a common trait, an unwavering dedication to their beliefs. As John prepared his speech for the convention, he couldn't help but feel a sense of purpose, a belief that he could make a difference. His heart pounded to the rhythm of his city, a beat that was about to intertwine with a melody entirely different from his own. In the heart of Brooklyn, under the neon lights and surrounded by the sounds of Dylan's "The Times They Are A-Changin'," John couldn't help but look forward to the upcoming convention. He had always believed in the power of dialogue, the importance of understanding different perspectives, even those vastly different from his own. Little did he know that the upcoming convention would not only test his belief in dialogue and understanding, but also lead him to an encounter that would challenge his worldview and touch his heart in ways he never thought possible. While Sarah prepared for her journey in Mississippi, finding solace in the familiar tunes of Garth Brooks and the comforting rhetoric of Fox News, John was lost in the lyrics of Dylan, his heart throbbing with anticipation and a determination to make his voice heard. Two worlds, miles apart, were on a collision course, about to create an unexpected and unforgettable melody. This is Chapter 2 of a 6-part short love story. The next chapter is Chapter 3. Chapter 3. Rivals or Lovers, a political romance begins. As the days dwindled down to the conventions, the atmosphere across the country was electric with anticipation. Two worlds, so different and yet so similar, were about to converge, creating a maelstrom of political rhetoric and passionate debate. Amidst this flurry of activity, Sarah and John prepared to embark on their journeys, unaware of the roller coaster of events that awaited them. Sarah arrived in the bustling cityscape of New York with her head full of dreams and her heart pulsating with patriotic fervor. The city's skyscrapers stood as towering symbols of modernity and progress, a stark contrast to the sprawling landscapes of her hometown. Her boots clicked rhythmically on the city streets, a constant reminder of the part of her world she carried with her. Meanwhile, in Boston, John felt a similar exhilaration as he prepared for the Democratic National Convention. The historic city seemed to pulse with life, a vibrant testament to the ideals he held dear. He breathed in the crisp New England air, feeling a sense of belonging and purpose. Their worlds collided unexpectedly during a chance encounter at a cross-party debate held on the sidelines of the conventions. As fate would have it, Sarah, the fiery Southern belle, and John, the progressive city slicker, found themselves pitted against each other in a fiery discussion on gun control. Sarah, in her tenacious fashion, argued fervently for the right to bear arms, while John, ever the pacifist, championed the cause for stricter gun control. As the debate raged on, their differences seemed irreconcilable, their worlds light years apart. Yet amidst the fierce debate, an unexpected undercurrent began to stir. In between the passionate rhetoric and sharp disagreements, they found themselves stealing glances at each other, an unexpected attraction bubbling beneath their political differences. Post-debate, amidst the clatter of champagne glasses and the murmurs of the mingling crowd, John found himself drawn to Sarah. He admired her fiery passion and conviction, qualities that mirrored his own. Approaching her with a compliment on her debate prowess, he extended an olive branch, asking her to join him for a dance at the convention's after-party. The moment their hands touched, a jolt of electricity passed between them. As the band began to play a slow rendition of Elton John's Tiny Dancer, they found themselves swaying to the music, their political differences momentarily forgotten in the intimate proximity. Sarah was taken aback by John's kindness and charisma. His respect for her views despite their differences touched a chord within her. He was so different from the men in her world, yet she found herself drawn to his passionate belief in his cause. John, on the other hand, was intrigued by Sarah's fierce patriotism and resilience. Beneath her fiery exterior, he glimpsed a woman of profound depth and strength. He admired her dedication to her beliefs, her unyielding love for her country. As the night faded into the early hours, their dance ended, but a spark had been ignited. As they retreated into their respective worlds, their minds were filled not with the political jargon of the convention, but with the memory of their unexpected encounter. Neither Sarah nor John could have imagined that a political debate would pave the way for something far beyond their political horizons. Their meeting marked the beginning of an unexpected romance, a dance far more intricate and challenging than the political arena they were accustomed to. As they returned to their hotel rooms, the words of Elton John echoed in their minds, serving as a reminder of their surprising connection. "Hold me closer, tiny dancer." Despite their differences, an unforeseen bond had formed between them, a thin thread connecting their vastly different worlds. This chapter in their lives had just begun, their story just starting to unfold. But as the conventions approached, would this bond withstand the test of their political differences, or would it crumble under the weight of their contrasting ideologies? The melody of their love story had just started playing, a tune filled with passion, excitement, and the sweet pain of uncertainty. This is Chapter 3 of a 6-part short love story. The next chapter is Chapter 4. Chapter 4. She shot, he sang, guns, music, and love. The conventions were a whirlwind of political speeches, passionate debates, and colorful characters from across the nation. Sarah, immersed in the electric atmosphere of the Republican convention, found herself often thinking about John and their dance. Similarly, John found his mind wandering to the fiery southern belle amidst the clamor of the Democratic Convention. The memory of their dance lingered, like a song stuck on repeat. Their paths crossed again at a cross-party gala, a neutral ground where Republicans and Democrats mingled and shared light-hearted banter. Sarah, in a stunning red dress, her hair cascading down her shoulders, made heads turn as she entered the room. John, handsome in his tailored suit, was amongst those who couldn't help but stare. As the evening wore on, they found themselves once again drawn to each other, a magnetic force pulling them together. Amidst the swirl of the party, they shared quiet conversations and stolen glances, their chemistry undeniable. In a spur-of-the-moment decision, John invited Sarah to a local range for some friendly competitive shooting. Sarah, intrigued by his unexpected proposition, agreed. She was curious to see how the city boy would fare in her world. The day at the gun range proved to be a turning point in their budding relationship. John, far removed from his comfort zone, was initially awkward with the firearm, yet he tried to learn, guided by Sarah's patient instruction. Despite their differences, there was a mutual respect and fascination that began to bridge the gap between them. After the shooting, they retreated to a local bar, where John, in an attempt to reciprocate, introduced Sarah to his world through music. At his request, the jukebox started playing his favorite Beatles tracks. He sang along, his voice surprisingly warm and pleasant. Watching John lose himself in the music, Sarah felt an unexpected stir of emotions. His love for music, his passion for his beliefs, and his willingness to step out of his comfort zone made him all the more attractive to her. She found herself drawn to him, not in spite of their differences, but because of them. They danced, laughed, and shared stories that night, drawing closer with every shared smile and touch. Their worlds, once so divergent, were starting to intertwine in a way they hadn't expected. This is Chapter 4 of a 6-part short love story. The next chapter is Chapter 5. Chapter 5. Intense, an erotic night they can't forget. As their relationship progressed, so did their desire for each other. Their political differences seemed to add an edge to their attraction, a forbidden fruit that was tempting to both. The tension between them was palpable, a silent acknowledgement of the attraction that had blossomed between them. One night, after a day filled with political meetings and social engagements, John asked Sarah to join him at a private jazz club, a hidden gem in the city's bustling music scene. The smoky, dimly lit room, the soulful melody of the saxophone, and the intimate atmosphere created the perfect backdrop for the crescendo of their budding relationship. As they swayed to the soft notes of Ella Fitzgerald's Summertime, they found themselves succumbing to their growing desire. Their bodies moved closer, their eyes locked, and the world outside seemed to fade away. The tension between them sparked, igniting a flame that was impossible to ignore. After the last notes of the song faded away, John leaned in, capturing Sarah's lips with his own. It was a passionate, desperate kiss, fueled by weeks of anticipation and unspoken desires. Sarah found herself responding fervently, their political differences forgotten in the heat of the moment. They spent the night together, lost in their shared passion and desire. They explored each other's bodies, their touches igniting a fire that consumed them both. It was a night of intense pleasure and discovery, an experience that left them breathless and yearning for more. Despite their differences, they found solace in each other's arms, their bodies entwined in a dance as old as time itself. It was a beautiful contradiction, A Republican and a Democrat united not by their political beliefs, but by their shared desire and attraction. This is Chapter 5 of a 6-part short love story. The next chapter is Chapter 6. Chapter 6. The Divide. Can Love Survive Politics? After their intense night together, reality started to creep in. The conventions were coming to a close, and they would soon have to return to their respective worlds. Their political differences, temporarily forgotten in the heat of passion, started to resurface. Their relationship was tested during a heated political debate. Sarah, true to her beliefs, passionately defended the right to bear arms. John, on the other hand, argued vehemently for gun control and equal rights. The passion that had once drawn them together now seemed to be pulling them apart. Despite their growing feelings for each other, their political differences were a chasm that seemed to widen with each passing day. Sarah found herself torn between her loyalty to her party and her feelings for John. Similarly, John struggled to reconcile his growing affection for Sarah with his commitment to his cause. Their love story, which had started as a beautiful melody, was now fraught with discordant notes. Their differences, once a source of intrigue and attraction, were now casting a shadow over their relationship. In the end, they made the difficult decision to part ways. Their love story was a casualty of their staunch political beliefs, a sacrifice to the gods of politics. Their final farewell was filled with unspoken words and lingering looks, a silent acknowledgement of the love they had shared and lost. Sarah returned to her world in Mississippi, a part of her forever changed by the city slicker Democrat. John, too, found himself altered by his encounter with the fiery Southern belle. Their love story was a beautiful but tragic melody, a testament to the power of love and the dividing force of politics. It was a song that they would carry in their hearts forever, a reminder of the passion they had shared and the love they had lost. Their story was a testimony to the fact that love, in all its forms, is a powerful force. But in the face of unwavering beliefs and societal norms, even love can find itself at the mercy of circumstances. Their political divide, in the end, was a bridge too far, a divide that their love, as strong as it was, couldn't bridge. Despite their heartbreak, Sarah and John carried on, their hearts scarred but stronger. Their love story was a melody that would forever play in the background of their lives, a haunting tune that would serve as a reminder of the passionate dance they had once shared. A dance that was, unfortunately, cut short by the harsh realities of their political divide. This is Chapter 6, the final chapter of a 6-part short love story. If you have enjoyed this story, please show us some love by hitting the like button, and please consider subscribing to the Romance Diaries on YouTube to hear more stories like this one.